Hello again, my dudes, welcome back to the channel. This is Kadima back with another Black Myth Wukong build and boss guide video for chapter 4. At this stage, if you have done as I have done so far, killed everything in your way and go to every single secret area, kill every secondary optional boss, and also grabbed every single meditation spot, your character should look a little bit like this, or at least be close to level 84, 85. Now, at this stage, it's a bit harder to level up, but the good thing is that you now have access to legendary armor and a mythical staff. Let's first take a look at the equipment. I'm using the Golden Lung Staff, which you get by completing the optional and secondary mission of defeating all the long bosses. There are plenty of guides out there. There's no point going through much about it. The reason why I'm using this staff is for obvious reasons. At this stage in the game, this is the highest damage dealing staff you can get. Also, it deals increased damage with pillar stance moves, and because of this, we have respect our character to go completely into pillar stance. This will be the first time of me using this stance actually for the purposes of this video. Now, what the staff does is that it moderately increases the damage dealt by all pillar stance moves, and alone can be summoned to execute thunder at the enemy at pillar stance heavy attacks that cost 3 or more focus points, which is very nice to have. It has an attack of 108. For the vessel, it's mandatory to have for this boss fight the Weaver's Needle. This is what you get by completing the secret area in Chapter 4. And I recommend that you don't even attempt to do this boss without the needle. I've tried it before, I had a tremendously hard time, and I don't recommend doing it. Also, there's a specific moment where you should use the Weaver, and you will see when that moment happens. The Wandering Spirit, the Wandering Wit is my spirit from the very start. It significantly increases defense, and it does a tremendous amount of damage. So it's a must-have for this boss fight. For the armor pieces, I'm using the golden set, which gives you the Gilded Radiance boon. And with 2 and 4 pieces, you get both boons for a short duration after performing a spirit skill or using a vessel, considerably increases attack upon critical hits, and defeats grants a small amount of ki. Also, the mask has the unique effect of, upon successful hits from spirit skills, grants massive focus upon reverting. The rest of the pieces do not have any unique skills. Normally, sets only have one unique skill on one of the pieces, and that's the way to go. For the curious, I recommend having the Jade Moon Rabbit and the Gold Sun Crow. These two paired together, the Gold Sun Crow slightly increases damage bonus, and this effect is enhanced when equipped with the Jade Moon Rabbit, which we have on the other side, and the Jade Moon Rabbit slightly increases damage reduction, and this effect is enhanced when equipped with the Gold Sun Crow. For the last piece, I like to have the Golden Spike Blade. This considerably increases defense and deals damage to surrounding enemies upon taking hits. It doesn't deal a tremendous amount of damage, but every little helps, especially in boss fights. As you can see for the stats on the right side of the screen at level 84, that's how my stats look. For the relics, I recommend going with what I have: Craving Eyes with Opportune Watcher, Fuming Ears with All Years, and Hubry's Nose with Hold Breath. For the abilities and the sparks, as you can see, on the abilities for Foundation, I recommend again going everything with Stamina. Martial Arts have everything except for the last one, it doesn't really matter here. For Survival, have everything in maximum mana and everything in surging momentum to increase the damage. And if you have spare points, put some into robust constitution. Staff stances, as per usual, everything on the left side except for the last one, you don't really need that. And because we're using pillar stance, have everything you can for the pillar stance as well. For the mysticism, everything into immobilize. For alteration, no real need to use anything at this stage on this one. For the pluck of many, everything invested of course, and transformations, no need for anything at this stage either. And this is pretty much how the build looks. A quick check on the journal so you guys can see. At this stage you should have your journal to look as pretty much like this as possible, with all the meditation spots also collected. But enough said, let's check how this build works using the pillar stance. As I said, this is the first time of me using it, so it's going to be a curious experience. I'm going to skip the cinematics because there's no point for me to showcase these and spoil it for you if it's the first time you are about to see it in your own game. So when you first arrive, some of these spiders are still around. I'm going to go with Cloud's Teeth, deal some damage if I can. Try to build some focus points. That was a terrible time to use the boss is doing damage to the spiders. It's actually killing quite a few of them. Still trying to get some damage going and building up our focus points. He's going to hide now. If anything, the spiders actually mess up this boss fight for me. I'm so used to not having them here, they're actually kind of getting in the way, to be honest. The boss is more focused on the spiders than it is on me, which is a good thing. But still, trying to get all those focus points built up to the maximum so I can unleash my heavy. And here we go. Time for the heavy. And do a nice chunk of damage. Headbutt the boss. Now we're gonna go with some nice damage as well, if we can. Unfortunately we can't because he decided to hide and go underground. We managed to avoid his attack. Get some perfect dodges if you can. It also helps building up your focus points. As you can see, now that the spiders are not around, it's much easier for me to build up the focus, even despite the hits that I'm taking. Nice, perfect dodge. Get some more hits. Now time for that heavy and smack his face. There we go. Boom, nice chunk of damage. Unfortunately, I got hit pretty hard myself. He's going to do the second stage, and this is when you want to have the vessel and just stop him from doing that nonsense. Time to get him on fire. Unfortunately, he managed to reverse me because he's activating the second stage. He actually managed to grab me, which is not ideal. It actually does a nice amount of damage when he combines all the nonsense of this dancing with his little tail. Lucky for me, I still got enough magic to get the Pluck of Many out, which is what I want. And now attack with the many enemies that he's got surrounded. Appreciate the fact that my beautiful duplicates are getting him frozen. Get some nice damage going, and then prepare to finish him off with a heavy. Here we go. Doesn't really matter, he's already dead. And as you guys can see, this build just trivializes the boss. It's one of the hardest bosses in game, but with this setup, with the stat points in the right places, with everything done correctly, even if you make mistakes, as you guys can see, this boss becomes extremely easy. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you are one of my regular viewers, thank you for the continuous support. I hope I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Cheerio!